but you in particular are one of those people that I just commend you and your work ethic, your consistency, and who you are as a human being, just as a better man. Guys, put some ones in the chat for Abdullah, who is just a phenomenal person to work with. And I was thinking about your message to me the other day of kind of what you wanted me to talk about, and I literally haven't gotten on these Zooms. This is the first Zoom call I've had in probably 6 months for a specific team. I've just been focused on go live. And so tonight's call, I don't have a fancy PowerPoint. I just want to speak from the heart. And I just want to really just show you guys, as he just mentioned, the journey. You just said something a minute ago on, funny enough, exactly what I wanted to talk about tonight, which is success takes time. And but before we begin, guys, I'm about to show you something on the screen that I hope brings as much value as I want it to bring you. Tell me in the chat box. I can see all the fire emojis, so I do appreciate it. I know the chat might not be visible for you guys, but it is flooding for me over here. Tell me how long you have been trading for. What period of time have you been trading? 2 months, 2 years, 20 years, 3 days, 1 week, 3 months, 18 months, 1 day. I mean, all sorts of stuff. 2 months, not yet, 6 months, 12 months, people from all over. And I want to first start by doing something that I don't normally start a call with. In 2018, I became an educator for this platform, I Am Academy. And what that means, guys, is I am the instructor on the field trip. I'm the guy that people look for to say, hey, what's going on in the markets? When COVID happened, I was the guy they were looking for to say, what's going to happen to the markets? How is this going to impact oil? How is this going to impact gold, the dollar, silver, you name it? That's my job, is to be the tour guide. And my job is to bring people to the right places so that they can see what they want to see. And so when talking about the journey, Abdullah wanted me today to talk about the journey and specifically the mindset behind it. Instead of just sitting here and talking about it and just saying, guys, you need to work hard, you need to be consistent. We all know that. What I wanted to do is I wanted to pull up one of the portfolios that I've been building since I joined IM. Now, I can't share numbers for compliance reasons. We're unable to share profits and things. But what I can show you is what's called the equity curve, which highlights where the account has been over the years. Not 1 day, not 1 week, not 1 month, not 1 year, not 2 years, not 5 years, 6 years of what does the portfolio look like. And what I'm about to share with you guys is something that is personal to me, but what you'll see on my screen here in a moment is you will realize, oh my goodness, Patrick has times of despair. His equity curve literally has a downtrend in the middle of it at one point. Patrick could have given up at this point. He could have said, I'm done investing at that point. What it all boils down to, folks, is consistency, without a doubt, is the most important ingredient to investing. Those of you that understand how to consistently invest over the long period of time are going to do better. I'm about to show you this, and I'm going to leave you with this one statement before I do. And put a 1 in the chat if you agree with this statement. It's not about getting rich quick. It's about getting rich for sure. What I can't guarantee you is that you're going to make money overnight. What I can share with you is if you follow the knowledge and principles of the mindsets of the things that I will share on this call, you'll be well on your way to success. What I'm going to do here is show up my screen. I would love if you guys could give me a thumbs up or a 1 in the chat as soon as you see it, so I know it's working on this Zoom call here. Give me 1 second, guys. All right. So I want to start here. This is 2018 until I screenshotted this maybe 2 weeks ago. Share in the comments what you find. Everybody's going to see something different. Share in the comments a couple things that you see. What you could take from this chart. This is what's called an equity curve. What are some things that you might learn? I'll share a couple of what I'm reading in the chat box. Up and down, growth, long-term growth, uptrend, consistent uptrend, up and down. There's little dips, but you keep going up. First year was sideways. Never leave the vision. You have always continued up despite the downtrends. Pressing on. Now, I know this is a weird way to start a call. I hope this brings you as much value as I intend it to. But I want you to start by taking just a couple glimpses here. What do you guys see here? In particular, those three. And honestly, right here too is tough. What do you see? This is literally, let's call it what it is. I am losing money for in this case, this is 2020. This is 2019. Guys, that's not a day. That's probably along the lines of 2 months. I think everybody can tell where the COVID money came in and when trading got a little bit easier. 2022, market pulls back. Some of those equities, I mean, gold got more confusing. Silver got more confusing. I had a little bit of trouble trying to pick up on it. I had to sit there and reconnect the dots. You look at that and you say to yourself, man, that's like 4 months, Patrick. My question for you is this. How many people would have quit here, or here? Well, they wouldn't have quit here and here because they wouldn't have gotten here if they would have quit here. What I wanted to start tonight's call, or wherever you're at, I know you guys are all over the world. For me, it's just after lunchtime here in the US. I wanted to start by showing this because I think this is so crucial. What I can tell you is the gains at this point were nothing. The gains at this point were something. The gains at this point are starting to become great. I'm 28 years old. I've never made buco bucks. You're not listening to some guy that has a trust fund. You're not listening to a guy with parents that have all this money. You're listening to a person that wanted to figure out how to invest his money long term. And what I started to do is I started to create portfolios in the Forex markets, which is trading one currency for another. All of you guys at some point, if you've traveled overseas, have done this. If you've gone to the US, you've exchanged maybe a pound or a euro for the dollar. If you've gone from the US to Australia, you've exchanged the dollar for the Aussie dollar or the CAD, whatever. You've done it when you've traveled. Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever done that. Lots of you. Lots of you. You've all traded Forex. You maybe just didn't trade it for profit. You traded it for leisure. My journey starts back in 2014, where I heard of this word Forex. And I wanted to learn how to take some of the money I was making flipping shoes, which was my first endeavor making money. I would buy shoes that sold out quickly, and I would resell them online for double or triple the price. Specifically, Kevin Durant shoes, Yeezys, Jordans, those sort of things. Back then, in particular, things were really hot. It was a ripe market to make money in. But I would start to make this money as a person that's just getting into college, and I was also bartending at the time. There's no rags to riches here, guys. I was always doing fine. I lived with my parents, have a great family, great upbringing, but I just had the standard life. A kid bartending, flipping some shoes, making a little bit of money. And I always thought, man, what can I do to make more of this money? I was never the person that just wanted to blow it all at one spot. And that's when I was on the internet one day and I found somebody making a post of something called Forex, where you could buy one currency against another. And if that one currency's value went up against the other, then I could sell and I made the profit in between. I could trade. The reason it was appealing to me at that time, I was a college kid. I have my bachelor's degree in business. And during that time of those 4 years, I don't know if you guys have ever gone to study and gone to college. It's not easy to not only have a bartending job for 2 of those years, but then have a full-time college credit class or credit load, excuse me. So what time was I able to trade? I was able to trade at night when I was done with my class, done with my homework, done with work. And so I'd focus on Forex at those times. And guys, let me be honest with you, it wasn't moving the needle too much. It was making me a couple bucks. But it was the skill set that I learned those first 2 years. Those 2 years aren't even on this equity curve that you guys see. Those 2 years were the mindset years. Because guess what? I realized at that time, the market doesn't care who you are. The market doesn't care if you grew up with rich parents or poor parents. The market doesn't care the color of your skin or where you live. The market doesn't care your sexual preference, your religious preference, or your political preference. The market is the market. It's you versus the market, and the market is always right. It took me a few years to realize that. It's like in business. You think if you start a business, everybody's going to purchase the product that you're selling. It's simply not true. You must become good at what you want to do in order to make money. All of you guys are on this call, I'm guessing, for one reason. You want to take your money and duplicate it through different investment vehicles, whether that be stocks, crypto, or Forex. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with that. Yeah, lots of ones. So a lot of people were on the same path. They were going after the same thing. And tonight what I want to do is be a little bit less organized than I normally am. I even want to do some Q&A in a little bit. We're going to do some sci-fi stuff, but I really want to explain to you guys a couple of the principles that I think are so crucial for you guys to have success. Do you guys okay with that? Without a very fancy PowerPoint, just me to you chatting, private call here. So the first rule I want to teach you, write this down. This is my #1 rule of trading. So, some of you guys, I'm not sure if you've ever heard this. Type in the comments if you have. Everybody knows what my rule is. I repeat it all the time. I have one rule in trading. My #1 rule in trading is not making money. It's capital preservation. You see, if your #1 goal is making money trading, that's fine. But it's going to skew the way that you trade. It's going to force you guys to say, man, I need to make a bunch of money right now, but can you make money without money? No. So what I would like to pull up here is a heat map. This is a risk to reward heat map. And then I also want to pull up actually, might have to go on Google. We'll start here. This is a risk to reward heat map. How many of you guys have ever heard the term risk to reward? Yes or no in the chat box. Yes if you know what it is, no if you don't. Risk to reward is how much you are risking for how much you're going to be rewarded. Typically, I utilize it in percentages. So if I'm going to take a trade and I'm going to risk 2% of an account, and if I hit my target, I hit 2% of the account, that's called a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Okay, that means that they are identical. They are the exact same. In this chart that you guys can see here, this is the percent accuracy on the top, and this is the risk to reward ratio. Most people, when they start trading, whether they like it or not, for whatever reason, that's where they sit. They don't know they're doing it, but they're risking more than their reward is. Now, I hope I don't have to go on a rant on your class, Abdullah, but I might have to, depending on how this answer goes. Here we go. Let's see. I'm going to say a statement. I want you guys to repeat after me. You can't go broke blank. You can't go broke. There's 2 words after it. What are they? You can't go broke taking profit. How many of you guys have heard that term? Put a 1 in the chat. Is that true? Yes or no? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Abdullah. Oh, no. There's a lot of yeses, guys, and it's completely false. You can't go broke taking profit. Tonight's goal is to make people realize that, generally speaking, when people are subscribing to this theory of you can't go broke taking profit, they're not thinking about it in the correct manner. My goal tonight is to shape that thinking a little bit. My goal is to shape that thinking because guess what you've been taught? you can't go broke taking profit. Be happy with profits. Celebrate profits. This and that. Guess what? You're in Patrick Henry's class now. You want to lose money? Keep subscribing to those theories. You wonder why you've been stuck in the same wheel. You're like, man, I've never had my equity curve grow. I've never been growing. I've never been growing. I've never been growing. Wait, maybe it's me. Not the strategy. Maybe I'm self-sabotaging. So this is an example, let's start, of these people that are risking 3% for a reward of 1%. Yeah, there's people going broke taking profits. I'll prove to you why that is in a minute. These people right here risking 3 for a reward of 1. Do you understand that in order for them to be profitable, they have to win 80% of those trades? What are the odds of you winning 80% of your trades? High or low? Low. If you're winning 80% of your trades, you should be on Wall Street right now. You wouldn't be here. And so for a guy like me that's not winning 90, 80, 70, 60, sometimes even 50% of my trades, you say to yourself, well, if you're not winning even 50% of your trades in some circumstances, and you're winning 45% some months, 48% other months, 42% some months, 50% other months, then what is the controllable that I can control as a human being to make myself profitable? It's risk to reward. At minimum, your goal should be right there. A 1-to-2 risk to reward ratio. Which means if I am risking 2%, my reward would be what? What is my percentage reward on a 1-to-2 if I risk 2%? 4. This is the first and most important thing that you must follow. Okay? We'll get on the charts. Abdullah, text me if I'm, can you text me on WhatsApp, Abdullah? Just let me know if I'm good to rock and roll for about an hour from now. Probably about 45 more minutes, 15 minutes past the hour. I just don't know if you have to stop at a hard stop. So I'll condense this if I have to, but all right, take your time, he said. So I want to make sure you guys get what I'm saying. This is the first major part, okay? Now, the second major part, I'm just going to grab paint. I love paint. Okay? And I'm just going to draw. I'm literally just going to draw trade numbers. 1, 2, 3. This is numbers of trades. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. By the way, am I speaking to anybody tonight? Any of you guys resonating, saying, oh my gosh, I probably needed to hear this, don't want to hear it, but maybe need to hear it? All right. There's just a bunch of, okay, this is just numbers, right? So here's the deal. Loss, loss, win, loss, win, win, loss, loss, win, 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 loss, 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 win, win. Totally random. Okay? What this represents is you took a trade. Trade number 1, you lost money. Trade number 2, you lost money. Trade number 3, you made money. Trade number 4, you lost money. Trade number 5, you made money. Trade number 6, you made money. You get what I'm saying? W and L. This is the second key part of tonight's call. Every single trade is at a risk percentage of 2% of the account balance. What does that mean? That means if I have $1,000, £1,000, €1,000, 1,000 Aussie, 1,000 CAD account, and I risk 2%, and I lose that trade, what is the amount that I'm going to lose? Dollar amount equivalent. What is it going to be? 2% on $1,000. It's 20. Now, here's where Most people know this. Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever heard this. Maybe you've heard 1%, maybe 3%. For Patrick, it's 2%. For me, it's 2%. I like 2%. It's in the middle. A lot of you guys have heard this, but here's where people go wrong. The last thing, a minute ago, I already stepped on a lot of your toes. I said you can't go broke taking profit. Yeah, that's false. Now I'm going to step on some toes again. Sometimes people are taught they need to reduce their risk. No. What you're doing now is you're doing what's called waiting trading. Not waiting as in patience, weight as in the scale. You're weighting it. What this means is this. Let me walk you through this. This is wrong, by the way. Don't copy what I'm about to say. I risked 2% on my first trade. I lost. I risked 2% on my second trade. I lost. So guess what I do on the third trade? I say I haven't been winning, so I reduce my percentage to 1. Then I win, so I get confident, and I boost it back up to 2. It slaps me again, I get another loss. I'm like, oh, man, I need to go back to 1. I go back to 1. Then I win, I go back up to 2. Then I win again, and I'm getting confident. What do? I risk 4. Then I lose. Does everybody see what's going on with this? What's the problem here? The problem is simple. If I have a $1,000 account, boom, it's down to $980. I lose another 2%, it's almost $960. But then I'm at a 1% risk, and look what's happened. I now only risk 1%. Let's presume this is all a 1 to 2 risk-reward ratio. If I'm risking 1%, what's my gain? 2%. And so what just happened is now my account's back up to approximately $980. On the flip side, if I did it correctly, what would I do? Don't care, don't care, don't care, don't care, don't care, don't care, don't care. In one sentence, Patrick, can you describe why you think you've just figured out how to invest better than others? I probably just don't care as much as you. That's why. Not that I don't care about making money in the result. I don't dictate the last result into the next result. Meaning I don't say, I lost the last trade, so the next one must be a loser. Or I won the last trade, so the next one must be a winner. Traders do this. Up and down, risk high, risk low. And then they look at their account and they go, what happened? I'm hoping maybe I'm starting to expose a portfolio or two in this call. Maybe you're saying, man, this is happening to me. In order to get to the point where an equity curve looks like this, which, by the way, funny enough, somebody thinks, well, Patrick, what do you mean you lost? I'll take this all day long for the next 45 years. The only way to get where you guys desire to go from a trading portfolio account. Listen, some of you guys don't desire to be full-time traders. I don't either. I think trading is one of the most boring / stressful things you can do. The fact that you're here says you think a little bit differently. You're probably a little cuckoo in the head like me. You know what I do? I take the money and I invest it in other vehicles as soon as humanly possible. I plop it into real estate. In fact, I just yesterday or today, I just posted, just as an example to show you guys, where one of, I know you're not going to be able to hear it. People wonder, well, where do you go? Where do you go? What do you do with trading profits? Here's an example. This is of our property in Arizona. There she is. Look at that baby. We bought. We have that now. That's the end result. And we bought that shack. See the difference? Pause for a minute. I know that's a little off base from trading for a minute. We'll get to the charts. Don't worry. I'm trying to paint a picture here today. With me, you're not going to get the picture of like, guys, you can have this, you can travel the world, you can have it all. You know what I can tell you? You can keep investing in other things. That's what I think is important. I think what people want is they want more options and more opportunity. In order to get there, we must be consistent with our risk management. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to burst the bubble as to why, when we talk like this, you can't go broke taking profit. False. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go through examples and how SIFI works and explain to you the strategy and all that sort of stuff. But before I do, I'm going to explain to you guys why you can, C-A-N, go broke taking profit. I'm just going to grab a random chart here for a minute. Clear this chart out. All right. Now, I'm going to create a hypothetical example. All right. Now, I'm a trader. I've got some strategy called the red line strategy. Magically, the red line just shows up. By the way, I'm being sarcastic. So when the red line shows up, I want to sell. When I sell, what do? Do I make money when I sell? Yes. It's called shorting the market. You make your money on the way down when you click sell. Okay. Here is why you can go broke taking profit. Watch this. This is euro dollar this morning. I say to myself, when the market comes up to that red line, oops, it did. I'm going to sell, and I'm going to put my stop loss above this high. My stop loss meaning if the market went higher than it, then I would exit with a loss. Watch this. Short position, stop loss here. Based off what I've taught you today, where should my target be minimum? My risk-to-reward ratio should be where minimum? We talked about it. We circled it right on the image. 1 to 2. Great job, everybody. You see that number right here? 1.75. So you got to get there to 1 to 2. Okay? I know it says 2.01, but it's just because it's a little finicky there. That's a 1 to 2 risk-to-reward ratio. You say, Patrick, I'm going to risk 2%, and I've got a 1 to 2 risk-to-reward ratio. Everything's fine, except for one thing. You say to yourself, you can't go broke taking profit. Watch what happens here. You enter the position. Okay? You enter. Oh my gosh, look at that. It just ripped back down, then it ripped back up to my entry. If it goes back down, I'm gonna start taking profit. I just know I've predicted it correctly. Okay? As this drops down, you know what people do? I just went to the 5-minute time frame. You know what they do as it drops down? What do they do, guys? You already know what they do because I'm talking about this as a fallacy in the market. What do? They take profit. Let's say I took profit here. What's my risk to reward now? 1.05. Put a 1 in the chat if I just connected a dot for somebody. Does it make sense? The reason you can go broke taking profit is because if you're taking all of your profits off the table, if I'm initially setting my risk to reward at a 1 to 2, but I'm completely exiting the position prior to it hitting my target, then wherever I exited, that's my true risk to reward. That's fine. But let's go back to our image. At a 1 to 1, guess what? I need to be 60% accurate in order to be profitable. There's at least one person on this call that it just hit for them. They're realizing, oh my gosh, that's what I've been doing. I've been exiting. And guess what you've also been doing? I can almost guarantee it. Every time the market's in the red, you've been letting it ride. You've been holding it. You hold the losses longer than you hold the winners. Funny how human psychology works. It's this weird fight or flight reflex, but it's actually the exact opposite. And so this is the number one lesson I wanted to teach today before we even got to sci-fi. If you don't understand these foundationary elements, first of all, understanding that this will be an ebb and flow environment. I hopped on the call and the first thing I said is, hey guys, here's a portfolio that I've been building since 2018. Take a look at it. Are there bad times? Yes or no? Yes. Were there times I actually lost money? Yes or no? Yes. Were there times I could have given up? Yes. But I couldn't have gotten here over time without a couple of things. Number one, recognizing the number one rule in trading is not making money, it's capital preservation. The second is I must have a risk to reward ratio of 1 to 2. And the third is I must risk the same amount every single time. Pause. We're 40 minutes into the call. I'm going to make a mental break here. This is where we break and we get into charting in a minute. Did somebody learn something? Put a 1 in the chat if you feel like you learned something here. All right. So now I'm going to switch gears, guys. How many of you guys, yes or no, know what sci-fi is? Okay, we got some yeses. We've got some no's. Regardless of your answer, we'll talk about it for a minute. What is one of the most difficult parts of trading, guys? You guys are right. Knowing where to enter, knowing what to do, knowing where to go, knowing all of these sort of things. The technical part is a small component, don't get me wrong. It's about 10% of the whole thing. A lot of you guys said discipline, consistency. By the way, you're not wrong. That is, the mindset portion is the most difficult portion. I could talk about mindset all day. Without mindset, you're screwed. But what sci-fi is it's that tour guide that I talked about. What do I mean by that tour guide? It's enabling us to control what we can control. If I hop over here and you're brand new to trading, you're brand new, you don't know anything about trading, you probably don't even know this website, none of that stuff. If you're brand new and you look at a chart like this, you are lost with your head spinning. What the heck would I do? Right? Am I right? Anybody in here relate to that right now? By the way, welcome to my world, July of 2014. That's where I was too. Versus a scanner. A scanner that if I log in and the background is gray, I do nothing. Buy, meaning I make money when the market goes up. Or if I log in and the background is red, I only look to sell, meaning I make money when the market goes down. So in this case, guys, you see what the background is. Am I looking to buy or sell? Just to start, let's take things nice and slow for a minute. The background is green. Now, does anybody notice anything on this chart? Is there anything on this chart that sticks out like a little bit of a sore thumb there? Oh, there's a green arrow. So the easiest way to explain this to you guys, sci-fi is a scanner. It's not driven by humans. It's algorithmically driven, which if you haven't been keeping up with the world of AI and artificial intelligence, I feel bad for you. If you have, you recognize that, wow, we can now have lawyers eliminated because it can draft agreements, personal trainers, diet plans, you name it. Why can't that be introduced to trading? And so what sci-fi does is it simplifies the trading process. What it does is it, first of all, finds the trend. If it thinks the trend is up, it puts a green background. If it thinks the trend is down, it puts a red background. If it doesn't think there's any trend at all, or it's not quite sure, it leaves it gray so you don't make a mistake. Then what it does is it puts in what are called arrows. You can see one right here. The arrow articulates that at this specific, what's called candle. Every single one of these little colored shiny things, those are called candles. No different than the candle right here you see in my hand on the webcam. That's a candle. And guess what? What does every candle have? It has a body, that's the wax, and the little tiny line on top is known as the what? It's right here in this candle, by the way. What do they call it? I don't know if they call it anything different in the UK. They call it the wick. That's all it is. And so SIFI says, hey, at the end of this candle, which is right there at the top, I would take a look at buying New Zealand Swiss. Now, brief disclaimer here. You haven't been through the training yet, so there's a few rules that you must follow. And I'm going to show you guys in a sort of an overarching way how to do this. But also keep in mind, if you come up here to the training tab of SIFI Scanner, we have everything laid out. How to access it, how to find the trainings, how to navigate the panel, how to turn on mobile notifications, how to do the lot size calculator, which is so important for risk, how to access the economic calendar, how to change your color scheme, and how to access the student center. Then we have videos training you on how to use the strategy. And then we've translated it to Dutch, English, German, Italian, Polish, Portuguese, Russian, and Spanish. Everything is right there. So disclaimer, you're probably going to feel maybe slightly lost by the end of the call. That's okay, because I got you covered on your back foundationary training right there on the back end. So every trade has 3 points. Anybody know what they are? It's an entry, it's a stop loss, and it's a take profit. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys, even if you don't have trading experience, can put together 2 and 2 of what they each mean. Entry means where do I actually enter the market, meaning I click buy. Stop loss means if the market gets to this price, I exit. Might be at a loss, might not be at a loss, might be a break even. We'll talk about it. And take profit means I exit the market in profit. When SIFI sends an arrow, at the end of that candle, I need to go long or short. Long is buy, short is sell. If I see a green background with a green arrow, am I looking for a long or a short position? I'm looking for a long position. So at the end of the candle is my entry. Okay. Now, the first thing I must place is what's called my stop loss. The stop loss is down here in red. It means if the market were to pull back in the wrong direction, in this case, we want it to go up. By the way, it didn't. I'm not cherry picking here. I want to show you the good, the bad, the ugly intentionally, so you don't have unrealistic expectations of what trading is. I think that's what plagues our industries. I'm so brutally honest with people that's why I turn off people sometimes. The market goes down in this case. We'll talk about that in a moment. But all of you just said long. So we need to first place our stop loss. Now, our stop loss goes 1 candle to the left of the arrow. Everybody see the arrow? 1. That's it. 1. It's 1 to the left. So where's the bottom of the 1 to the left? It's right about here. You see that? Everybody put a 1 in the chat if you see that. I put my stop loss 1 to the left of the arrow. Okay? Every single SIFI trade, we will follow the same protocol. The first thing we do is we find the entry. It's at the end of this candle. Then what we do is we find the stop loss. We go 1 to the left of the arrow. If we're selling, it'll be at a high. If we're buying, it'll be at a low. Then we find that low and we add a little bit to it. You'll find in the training, it's called spread times 3, and you'll get that in the training. For sake of simplicity today, this is all I'm going to do here. Then, what's the next point I have to? What do I have to do next? What's the next area I have to adjust? It's my take profit. Now, I need to do 2 things, guys. I'm going to teach you guys Risk Protocol 101. Pop quiz. What's my #1 rule of trading? One more time. Capital preservation. So here's what I do to preserve capital. I create 2 different target points. Now, I'm not taking profit. I'm not taking profit. I'm creating 2 different target points. Listen to me closely now. The first target point is at a 1-to-1. I'm calling this target number 1. By the time I finish this discussion, you'll understand. Because you say, wait a minute, Patrick, you just spent all that time saying 1-to-2 and you put it at 1-to-1. Just follow for a minute. That's my first target. I do not split entries. I don't do any of that. I just make a target in this point, an alarm or a mental note to watch. If the price hits a 1-to-1 ratio, I do something specific. I'll show you in a minute. Then what I do is I do the same thing. Once again, I'm just copying everything, but this time I'm setting my full take profit. That would be me leaving the market, full take profit, okay? So I've got these two different target points, light shade 1, light shade 2. That's target 1, target 2. Put you on game real quick here for capital preservation. Here's what I do. This, by the way, is not like a really deep hindsight. This New Zealand Swiss was called this morning. This was 12 hours ago. This morning for a lot of you guys, I should say. For me, it was like 1 in the morning. So I'm going on the right of the screen. Can everybody still see this? I'm doing it intentionally so it feels real. Does everybody see it? I'm just covering the candles so it feels really real. So the alert comes in. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, don't freak out, don't freak out. You get all stressed, you get a little sweaty, you're like, oh my gosh, here we go, here we go. You ready? Where do you enter? Right at the end of that candle, right at the beginning of the next one. That's your entry point. You set your stop loss, you set your target. You set one target at a 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio. You set your second target at a 1-to-2 risk-reward ratio. The next candle comes out. What does everybody notice about this next candle? Anybody notice anything? It hits our target number 1. Now, why is this important? It's not because I take profit. Do you know what I do at target number 1, folks? I move my stop loss. Where do I move it? I move it to the price that I entered at. So now, anybody that's new or advanced, what does that mean if this trade were to go bad against me, or south in this case? It's protecting my capital. My number 1 rule of trading is not making money, it's capital preservation. Please never say risk-free, by the way, if you just said that. Only reason I say that is brokers, unfortunately, can jump stop losses. So I never call something risk-free. It's just a habit. We call it break even. And so in this case, I hit target number 1. So I've just moved my stops to break even. Now, you're going to learn this in the training, but on a light shaded candle, we have a rule where we are in or out, period, after 8 candles. This is candle number 1. 1 to the right is candle number 1. This is candle number 2. So at the end of 8 candles, whether I'm in stop loss territory or target territory, I'm out. Because these little alerts, a word I would use is potent. They're meant to be quick with results. If you have not gotten the end result that you desire by the end of those 8 candles, you're out. You'll learn that in your training, by the way, so I'm not going to go in full detail there. But if you ever hear me counting the candles, it's because of that reason. So here's candle 1, here's candle 2, here's candle 3. There's 4, there's 5, there's 6, there's 7, and there's 8. What did I just say? By the way, I'm just putting a yellow line on top of the end of candle 8. What do I do at the end of candle 8 now? What do I do? It's an 8 candle rule. I got to get out. This is not me taking profit. This is not me saying, oh my gosh, I made money. This is actually in our books, not considered a win. Now, if I had stayed in, what would have happened right here? Would have hit my entry. Wouldn't have made money. Wouldn't have lost money. There is your first example of SIFI. Put a 1 in the chat. If I inched just a little forward, you're like, okay, I see it. Just a little bit. I'm not asking you to be a pro right now. Just a little bit. Let's do it again. Let's grab another one. What color background do I have here on Aussie dollar? Green. Am I looking to buy or sell? Let's do this most recent one. I'm looking to buy. When do I buy this? The end of the candle with the arrow. Right here. Good. Where's my stop? One candle to the left. Below the low. Good. Where's my first target? Where's my first target? 1 to 1. I'm going to do it one more time now. Where's my second target? 1 to 2. Very good. Okay. Now, I do want to give you a brief disclaimer. If you're trying to be a pro at this, go into training and then go into the English category and get the Adapt Creed PowerPoint, because what I just mentioned about those 8 candles, we have rule sets on every time frame and every shade. Do you notice there's dark shades and light shades? A minute ago, I showed you a light shade. Right now, I'm showing you what's called a dark shade. Do you notice the difference? Now, the reason that's important is we have dark shade checkpoints, and then we have light shade checkpoints. Remember what I just mentioned? 8 candles. It's all right here. We have it all ruled out for you. So on a dark shade 30-minute, I just want to show you this so you understand. On a dark shade 30-minute, how many checkpoints do I have? I have 5. The first one happens in 4 hours. How many candles is 4 hours on a 30-minute time frame? Every 30 minutes is a candle, and it's 4 hours to the checkpoint. You simply multiply 30 by that 4 hours. So every 2 candles is an hour. I need 4 hours. It's 8 total candles. Very well done. That's first checkpoint. All this means is a checkpoint. In terms of these dark shades, which I'm about to show you, all that means is, am I better than the previous checkpoint? So checkpoint 1 is basically, am I in profit? Because the previous checkpoint is entry. Checkpoint 2 is, am I in more profit than checkpoint 1? Checkpoint 3, the same and the same and the same and the same. If you ever say no, boom, you're out. Put a 1 in the chat if you get that. Watch this. Here we are. There's the alert. Entry happens on this candle number 1. Candle number 2, what happens? What do you guys notice? Look right here at the shades. What happens on candle number 2? This was this morning, by the way. TP1 hit. What do I do at TP number 1? Roll stops to break even. Boom. Candle number 3. Candle number 4. Candle number 5. Candle number 6. Candle number 7. What happened on candle number 7? TP2. Out and done. This, by the way, was this morning. Aussie dollar. Let's do another one. A little bit faster this time. You're starting to get it. You're starting to get the flow. You're like, oh my gosh, I think I see it. Stops below the low to the left of the arrow. Target number 1. 1 to 1. Good. Target number 2. 1 to 2. Good. Do it again. At the end of this candle, entry. In the middle of this candle, what happens? Wow, quick. Target 1 hit. Roll stops. Candle 2. Candle 3. Candle 4. What happened on candle number 4? Another one. Take profit hit. Very well done. Now, on the right side, we can toggle time frames. So I'm on the 30-minute time frame here. If you click the 1 hour, you'll be on the 1 hour time frame. You can toggle between Forex alerts, exotic alerts, commodity alerts, crypto alerts, and indice alerts. The greatest thing on the top left corner is your training. You must get through your training before you start hitting the charts. We also have a student center. I love the student center because it allows you, this is like having TradingView, but better. It allows you to say, look at a chart. Let's say, for instance, you're just like, man, I really want to look at pound dollar today. You come over here and you search pound dollar. But now, instead of just being a chart, if there was a SIFI alert, it would show up. See here? They start to show up. And now you can go back in hindsight. You can look back at previous alerts, all that sort of stuff. The second great thing is you can mark this chart up. Say you're practicing, you're marking this thing up, yada, yada. We were marking it up. Abdullah's awesome, right? Save notes. Now what just happened? I go to lunch, I go to bed, I come back from work, whatever. I go back to the student center. My markup is still here. In a world of landmines, in craziness, in uncertainty, in all this sort of stuff, what we are trying to design for you is a place for you to easily see ideas, clarity, and figure out, what do I want to take? What alert should I take? And look at this, all these alerts on the right panel. You see them all? All these alerts, just today alone, all these time frames. And you can go through and figure out, what do I want to take? What do I want to avoid? Only things I suggest avoiding is, of course, major impact news events that you don't understand until you understand them. But if you got anything out of this message today, guys, I'm going to stop my screen share. If you got anything out of this message today, it's that with time and consistency, you too can put things together. And I say put things together, guys, because one person's journey is going to be different than another, and one person's put things together is going to be different than another person's. But what I can tell you is, the better that you guys can work through training material and can understand risk management, the better off you're going to be. This is not about sci-fi. This is not about any sort of strategy in general. Everybody has a strategy with investing. This is simply about knowing how to manage risk. Knowing how to manage risk on your trading account, knowing how to manage risk with your businesses, knowing how to manage risk in your life. This is pertinent to all of these things. Now, before I go, I told myself I would share with you guys this. And so I want to share with you guys my 10 habits specifically that I believe have the ability to change your life. And I saw this one day from a gentleman, and it resonated with me to a point where I would love to share it with you. The 10 habits that can change your life. Habit number 1, choose optimism. Today, I want you to take and make a direct and aware choice that you will choose to be optimistic. We all know those people that nothing can go right. One little thing will send them out throughout their day. Today, I tell you, choose optimism. Choose positivity. Because the better you're in that mindset, the better you're going to be able to absorb material, learn, and grow as a human being. This is not pertinent to just trading. This is pertinent to life. Number 2, write your thoughts daily. This morning, I had a Mindset Thursday session inside of I Am Academy on our Go Live channel. I'm live Monday through Thursday on my channel at 11 a.m. Eastern and 8 a.m. Pacific, by the way, on Forex. And then I'm live Monday and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern for the stock channel. And every Thursday for the last 20 minutes, I challenged them with some sort of mindset topic. And today, one of the things I said was I wanted them to write down everything that was making them happy and everything that was making them stressed. And here's what was interesting in the chat box. When I said, hey, can you write down everything that's making you happy? You know what happened? It was quiet. There was a few little things, this and that. I said, write down everything that's making you stressed. Do you want to guess what happened? Oh my gosh. I mean, it was flooded with people's comments. And I said, look, you should have more to be happy about than stress, but because you're not writing down what you're happy about, you're not seeing it. Start writing things down. That's number 2. Number 3, take care of your health. That's the only thing you've got. Number 4, pay it forward. It doesn't have to be money. Sometimes it's money. Sometimes it's donating to the food bank. Sometimes it's creating a scholarship fund. Sometimes it's giving people your time. This is a form of paying it forward in my world. Giving people time. Pay it forward somehow. Number 5, do not compare yourself to others. Someone in here right now is 38 years old. One of you is 65. One of you is younger than me, 22. I'm 28. And guess what? You start to compare. You create this social hierarchy. Oh, Patrick's here or here or here. Don't. You are your own person. One of the most dangerous things you can do right now is go on social media and say, why am I not where he or she is? You're on your own journey. They might be on chapter 27 and you're on chapter 2. Don't compare yourself. Number 6, I want you to prioritize growth. Growth in knowledge, growth in spirit, growth in health, growth in mind, growth in relationships, growth in finances. I want you to prioritize your life as a growing being. The people that always forget this are people that sit still. A body that stays in, or that is in motion, tends to stay in motion, and a body that's at rest tends to stay at rest. It's why the people that get so much done are the busiest people. They say if you want something done, send the work to a busy person. And if you don't want something done, give it to a person that's got nothing going on. It's funny how that works. It's because people that work, and they're always working on growing. Number 7, I want you to focus on constantly reading, watching, and listening, which means learning. Watch podcasts, read books, listen to whatever you've got to do to learn as much as possible about whatever you are trying to accomplish. Number 8, give actual appreciation to the servers in the restaurant, to the valets at the door, to the janitors at your office, to the family members in your family, to your friends. Give real appreciation. It will make you feel better. Number 9, reduce your wants. How many of you guys right now have a materialistic desire in your life? Put a 1 in your chat. House, car, watch, money, this, that. Reduce it. I know your mentor didn't teach you that. I know your mentor said, put it as your background. I'm 28, telling you from experience. I promise you sitting behind, I can't talk about it for compliance reasons. I promise you sitting behind this wall in the garage is probably a car of one of your dreams. I promise you in the safe is probably a watch of your dreams. I promise you the vacation this summer is probably that. I promise you. The hard realization I've gone through in the last 5 years is none of it made me happy. None of it. After about a month, the car's a car. The watch still tells the same time. Fun fact, I just bought this watch recently. I posted on my Instagram. This watch costs $220. It gives me the same level of happiness as some of the watches upstairs that cost the price of cars. Reduce your desires. Please. And number 10, ignore the non-essentials for you. Some of you right now are getting thrown off by the social media world, and then this and then that. If you're not where you want to be, if you're not living the life that you want, if you don't have the family life you want, whatever it is, you need to start ignoring the distractions and focusing in on this. Now, I know I got on here and a lot of you guys did or did not know me. Some of you guys did not know me, and I probably came in here guns blazing, abrasive as ever, like I normally am in terms of my trading channels. But I promise you, all I'm trying to do is make you think just slightly different, because I recognize the amount of misinformation on the internet surrounded by finance, mindset, and overall well-being. And I'm a 28-year-old realizing that it is the blind leading the blind in this world. And if I could just have changed or shaped one thought today for you, I hope that I could. So Abdullah, I'll pass it back to you. Thank you so much for having me on the call. Thanks guys for being here, attending, and I hope you got at least one piece out of it. Abdullah, back to you, my friend.
Thank you very much. Literally, it was a completely mind-blowing session. Ladies and gents, I'm sure as much I have learned, we all have learned together. Let's put again 777 in the chat. I mean, I am really like, it made me think this whole session, what I am doing, I really need to rethink about, especially this mindset part of trading, the psychology, the how to manage risk properly. I think I need to watch this video over and over again. So this is why, always you need to be ready to learn. And what we have learned now, from a literally, I would call him a giant of this industry and somebody who's really successful. Let's put 777 before he goes. Sir, thank you very much for sharing all the wonderful information, all the golden nuggets. Ladies and gents, let's be honest here. If you really got the value on this call, just put one in the chat. If you really, really felt the wow moment, put one in the chat. And here's the next thing for you. We love this session, isn't it? I love this session. He is all the time available for you guys on the Go Live session. And we are promoting that Go Live with the link and flyer all the time in your WhatsApp groups and everywhere. All you need to do, plug into his session. He's available there. He's committed. He's coming every single week, Go Live for you guys. But you guys need to make this decision. Okay, you know what? Am I really going to learn? Or am I just waiting for some kind of trade ideas? Or, somebody will tell me, okay, buy this or sell this. This is not going to work. Give yourself a favor and learn the skill. Learn from somebody who has results. Okay. Do not fall for anyone. Okay. You know what? Somebody is starting trading for 6 months and is telling you, let me teach you. Learn from somebody credible. Learn from somebody who has experience, who has spent enough time, who has results in this industry. So ladies and gents, once again, sir, thank you very much for coming on the call. Really, really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It was amazing. Thank you. Seriously.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. So ladies and gents, once again, please plug into his session, okay, all the time. This is what we need to do. And give yourself a favor, learn this skill, make a commitment. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to limit myself with the time I have only 1 week or 1 month to learn. You can't learn it. You need to really make a decision. Do I want to be the professional here? Yes, then look at his time. From the age of 18, he started to learn from the college days, and he's 28 years old now. That you can see clearly when he's speaking, the wisdom, the credibility from his word, from the confidence, the way he's explaining every single thing, because he has gone through, he has done all that stuff, which we all are expecting to achieve. So I would say, go back to the academy videos, jump into his live session, practice the strategy all the time. They have made these scanners for us to give us more confidence towards this business, towards this industry, and make our learning easy. So ladies and gents, again, I would say trading, we heard many times, 90 to 99, 90% at least, 95%. Sometimes I say 99% psychology, 1%, 10%, 5% your skill. How much time, how much emphasis you do on that 90% part? That's the real question. If you're not doing it, start to ask yourself, I'm ready. I always want to go on the chart. I want to learn the strategy. But because not having the right psychology, our risk management, we don't do well. This is why people lose more instead of making break even or gaining. And that's why people get desperate, frustrated. If you really manage your risk properly, trust me, what he showed you today, if you really understand, if you don't, you didn't get it, no problem. You can always jump into his Go Live session. You can always ask a question in the chat box on the Go Live. You can always watch this session over and over recording. I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel. You can watch it there and you can learn something. Ladies and gents, make yourself this commitment. 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. I don't know. I can't tell you how long it's going to take for you to learn. But if you learned it once, this skill set, like he has, you can have here for the rest of the life. So make this commitment. IM Academy, this platform has designed the education in the most simplified way that we can learn from the comfort of our home. So make this commitment and do not rush. Do not think, okay, I need to do this in the 2 weeks, 1 week. It's not going to happen for sure. It's going to take some time. Okay, so thank you once again to our phenomenal Go Live educator, Patrick Canny. Once again, thank you from the bottom of my heart to take out this time, especially on this call. I know he's very busy in his life on his Zoom Go Live session. He usually doesn't come much on the Zoom call, but I requested him. Once again, big thank you to you. And ladies and gents, I hope you all got the value. Watch this video again and again. I will send the link shortly, and let's take together this skill set to the whole new level. Do not give up on your dreams. Do not lose hope. Do not think, oh, you can't learn trading. You can if you are willing to put the work in. All right. Thank you once again, everybody, to joining the call. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening, everyone. And thank you.
Like lions in the wild. Like lions.